Hello, everybody, and welcome to the YouTube channel of Skip Allen. This post is in response to a question at Painter Factory. Kenneth is asking about offset sampling, which is another way to clone in Painter. So let's look at what I've got open here, and then we'll talk about Kenneth's question. The first thing I want you to know is I'm going to use a cloner brush called Strength Cloner. Now this is just, it's like a photographic representation of your clone source. And the only reason I'm using it is because it's just easy to use and easy to see. Kenneth used it for the same reason, and I think that's a good idea. The other thing that I have open is this document right here, which is a small sketch that I did that is 3 inches by 2.75 inches or something like that. And then my target is a regular document that's just 10 by 10 inches. Okay, so it's larger than the clone source, which was one of the stipulations that Kenneth was asking about. Now, I've also opened up 2 panels, the clone source panel and the cloning panel. You find both of those panels under Window. The clone source panel is down here right below the navigator, and the cloning panel is under Brush Control panel, so you come right down here to cloning. Okay, now one last stipulation. Kenneth was working in Painter 12, so I am also working in Painter 12, and this might be a little bit different in Painter X3. I don't know, I hadn't really played with it today. But for Painter 12.2, this is going to answer Kenneth's question. Now, what Kenneth said is he's trying to clone this over here, and if he clones it on the canvas, most of the time it works. But if he tries to clone it on a layer, he gets a black surface around, or maybe black for the cloning. All sorts of things seem to be happening for him. So let's see if we can straighten this all out. Now, the first thing you want to know is if you look at the clone source, it's going to be set to current pattern. The only way to get it to image or offset sampling is that you've got to do something. But to get an image, you would, open a clone source, and it would show right down in here, and then you'd be set up for cloning from an image. But to clone from offset sampling, you have to do something different. You want to take your brush, in this case the Straight Cloner, but you can use any brush that allows you to select clone color. You come to the cloning panel and you'll see clone color selected, and the clone type is normal. Well, I'm going to change that to offset. Now watch, when I change that to offset, I'm going to see a little 1 out beside offset. That tells me I need 1 reference point in both the clone source and the clone target. If I select one of these other types, the little numbers that are in parens tells you how many points that you have to have. Now, to establish this offset cloning between the two, you have to hold down, you want to come to your target, to your clone source, and you want to hold down the Alt key, be sure you're on your brush tool, hold down the Alt key for a PC or an Option key for the Mac, and simply click inside of the document. Now, if we come back over to the target, and we hold down the Alt or the Option key, plus the Shift, and just click anywhere in here, now I'm going to clone that document. Nothing's happening. And that's one of the things that Kenneth noticed, was that it didn't seem to always work. Well, that's true. What has to happen is sometimes the connection doesn't quite work. So go back and do it again. And there you go. You've got it, the selection back. Now you see I am cloning that entire image in the actual size that it is at the place where I set my reference point. Now, Kenneth was saying that he has problems when he goes to a layer. So let's add a layer. And I'm going to assume that we're still connected, but I'm going to put my image in a different spot. Now, notice that that gave me a green dot. That's not what I want, okay, because I need the red dot. And the reason it gave me the green dot was because I only held down the Option and key, or the Alt key. It was my mistake. So because of that, I need to come back over here, hold down the Option or the Alt key for PC, Option for Mac, click in the center, then come back over here, holding down the Option or Alt key and the Shift key together with it will make a red dot. Now we start to paint, and there you go. We've got the image, but we have this black stuff around the outside. And that was one of the things that Kenneth was upset about. So let's see what we can do to that. Let's take that off. We're going to come back over here, and we're going to use Control A, or go up to Select All, and I'm going to select this image. See the little marching ants running around the outside edge? Okay, that's selected. I'm still with Offset Sampling 1, and I'm going to come down here, and I have these two buttons right here. One is Obey Source Selection, and all that's saying is it's going to constrain the clone source to the source, the image to the source selection here, okay? Or I can copy source selection, and that's just, it sounds exactly what it sounds like. It copies the source selection over here. Now, most of the time I don't notice any difference between these two, so I don't think it really matters. I know there must be a difference, but I haven't discovered what it is. But what I'm going to do is click on Obey Source Selection. Okay, now that all that's done, I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to hold down my Alt key or my Option key, and I'm going to set that point one more time. Then I'm going to come over here and hold down the Alt key or Option key plus the Shift key, and we will set our destination, just like that. Now we'll begin to paint. Nothing happened. So we'll go back over here, and once again, set our point, come over here, and set our second point, and there you go, it's working. So sometimes you got to do it 2 times. But the neat thing is, look, no black on the outside, because the cloning process is constrained to the selection that I've put in there, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be select all. You can also take your selection, and you can make a, let's go Control D. We can make a single selection inside of here. All right, so that's what we've selected. We still have Obey Source Selection, and we're Offset 1. So we come up here and we go back to our brush tool, holding down the Option key or the Alt key. We're going to make another point in here, and then we're going to come over here and hold down the Option or Alt key and the Shift key, and we'll make our second point. And then we'll start to clone. And see, you're cloning the selected area over here. If we come back, you'll see the selected area, and see we cloned that selected area, and there's no black. And let's see, we are still on a layer. Okay, now let's get rid of that, and we'll get rid of this one as well. And we'll come over here and we'll get rid of the selection. Okay, so another thing that Kenneth asked about was bilinear, and he said that wouldn't work for him. So we're going to stay with bilinear again. I'm going to take off obey source selection, so we're going back to the beginning. When I hold down, now this image is selected, when I hold down my Alt key, I'll see 4 points that pop up, and I need 4 points for bilinear. And these points are around the outside edge of the image, okay? Now I want to come over here, and I'll hold down my Alt or Option key plus the Shift, and I'll see the 4 points matching these, and they start up in the upper right corner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, still holding down the Alt and Shift key, I'm going to drag this. Actually, I'm not going to drag it. You don't have to drag it. You can just come over here and select 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now with bilinear, I can do 4, and I'm going to clone inside of here what's inside of there. Okay, so I'm not going to do obey source selection or anything like that. I'm just going to start cloning. Now, it seems to work real fine, right? Well, that's because we're on the canvas layer. So let's undo that. We'll add a layer, and let's see if we can still clone. And we can. It's still cloning the same way, but again, we've got that silly black stuff on the outside. So in order to get rid of that black stuff up here on the layer, we've got to come back over here and go Control A so that we're we're going to restrain the clone. I have bilinear 4, and I'm going to obey source selection. And let's go ahead and reestablish, holding down the Alt key or the Option key. We'll establish the green point. We come over here, and we're on the second layer, holding down the Alt or the Option key and the Shift. We'll put in our we'll put in our 4 points. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we begin to clone. There we go. It was out of the place. Sometimes the area shifts, and I'm not too sure why it shifts a little bit. But there you go. You've got that cloned with no black. Okay? Now, let's just get rid of that one. And we'll come back over here, and we'll go Control D, and we'll get our selection again, and we will select an area. Let's see. Let's select an area like that. Okay, so we've now got a selection done. We're going to do bilinear again. So while I'm over here holding down my Alt key, I'm going to, got to go to the brush. Holding down my Alt key, I'm going to put my corners right at the selection. And that will mean that it's going to select what's in the selection. It's going to obey the source selection, but whatever size I make it over here, it's going to match. Okay, so we come over here now, and we come over here, meaning over to the target. We hold down the Alt key or the Option key plus the Shift, and we do our 4 points. We'll do 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 there. Oops, wrong. All right, so let's do it again. Alt plus that. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. You've got to go in order. 4. And I've got this funny section here. And remember, we've got a rectangle over on this side. So we try to paint. And look at there. We're getting that small section, rectangle. See, just if I come over here, look, you've got that flower and then the big flower. If I come over here and we look at that selection, we've got that. We brought it over here, and it is bigger than what's there. So this Bilinear also allowed me to size it or change any number of things to it. Now, if I undo that, and we come over here and holding down the Alt key and the Shift key, and I do my ones again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we make that a little bit more of a rectangle. So you can kind of straighten these out, moving them around a little bit. Almost. Okay, so that's pretty much a clean rectangle. And now we begin to clone inside of that area. So I've got a much larger, now I could have done this with scale also. I have a much larger image than what's here placed inside of my target. Okay, and as you can see, there's no black. So it has to do with utilizing selections, and obey source selection or copy source selection should work as well. Okay, Kenneth, I hope that helps. Enjoy. Bye-bye.